Good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. Morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody this morning? Sorry, I'm a little late. I uh, I was short 74. I saw the seller here. I saw this, so I initiated. I was short 74. I used 76 at the stop, and then I just covered just in this area here. Just a couple of points. Hey, Kevin, Jam. How's everyone doing? Happy Friday. Oh, well, we finally got a liquidation, and we're actually in the gap. So let's go take a look and see where we are in the larger picture of things. So, okay, overnight inventory is short. All right, and we're not really expecting a huge move up because since that gap up, everyone above 5,800 is trapped long now going into Friday. So, we finally got the liquidation that we were looking for. Our gap fill is it's around 57.40 and change. Yeah, just when you thought it was going to be a nice, calm Friday, Christian, right? He had to tweet that out. He wakes up, he hits that Diet Coke button, and everything falls apart. Hey, Mike, what's up? But in a way, it's good because the shorts get to cover before the long weekend, right? They get to cover. Next week, we'll stabilize the market after the long weekend. And then we start a new month, right? So everyone's happy, right? This way, everybody makes a buck, right? Yeah, month end, right? The longs, right? If you were long underneath 5,800, or actually if you were long, squish this a bit. You know, all the people who were long underneath 5,700, they got to go and sell that, you know, for the entire month of May. Now we put it on sale and we're going to come back into this cost basis, right? Who knows what we have, right, Raj? But it's good. We got better price action now. We got some selling in the market. That's very healthy, you know. Going into month end, and so we'll probably come back into this area here. That's that position. There's the distribution of that position. And then, of course, right, distribute, put it on sale, bring it back down, and let's see if we can hit that gap fill. as we creep in. So that's pretty much the logger side of things. You know, if you're a look below and fail trader, you really want to wait until the selling is done. Don't try and catch the lows. You know, our low this morning is 57.56 and change. We're trading 71, so we found a little bit of a bid, but remember, not everybody sells at once. Yeah, sell in May and go away, right? It's a beautiful, that was a beautiful liquidation. So we do the same thing. I redid the balance zones. My earlier balance zone this morning was 57 to 65. Then you get this nice big drop. I redid the zone. It's a bit big. I do apologize for that. So the zone is 59 to 76, which can be a bit of a pain. Just want to make sure. Oh, what did I do? Draw the midline in it. That'll help negotiate it a bit. So you notice it's really quite nice. Yeah, what I'm doing, Alexander, is see, we did a little look below and fail of the middle. Middle's like, what, 67 and change? Oh, let me just go mark that off. Yeah, 67 half. Okay. Yeah, whatever works for you, you know? Our zones don't have to match up. It's just what trade's available when you get down there. Let's see if we have a seller at 76 if you're long 67. Yeah, we're off by a couple of ticks there, Lear. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm already in kind of holiday mode. It's a big holiday weekend in the UK. We've got the Raj. What's that big ship? Not the Queen Mary. One of the queens. No, it's not Memorial Day. It's a holiday in the UK on Monday, and Raj's favorite soccer team has got their parade. The Liverpool dudes. And then we've got that big cruise ship coming in. So people are all excited. Everybody's kind of in. Well, it's the start of summer, right? It's nice. So they're front running 76. See the top of those candles? Right? So when the top of the candle can't intersect the level, there's a seller there. It's always good to know where the sellers are and where they're active in a market so you can anticipate. You know, if you were long 70, 72, you're looking for 76 as an out, but somebody's selling 75 and three quarters, you could front run them. Yeah, nothing wrong with a little sunshine and a barbecue, Mark. That's a beautiful thing. Although they have not mastered the potato salad thing here. Oh. So we have sellers at 76. We've got bids at 67. The price action is really quite tradable. You know, I took that short down here. It worked nicely. You know, we'll just do our thing. Don't overdo it today on the trading. You know, stick to your setups. 84 and a half. The POC is above us, Raj. I'm sure it'll move down before the open. Oh no, it's not above us. It's at 57.68. Sorry. My screen is so bunched up. Jeez, we had big single prints. It was at 58.58. Now it's all the way down here. 57.68 and a change. That's where the POC is. So for those look below and fail traders, the people who like to go long after a liquidation, what you want to be aware of is that there are sellers above 74. So wherever you find the bid and decide to go long, know where the selling competition is going to be so you can sell before they do. Right? That's good business. The POC is very simple. So, Mark, if you have, just move this over here. If you have a range of price, right? The value area, right? Say this is the value area. This area here, okay? That area, let me just draw it in nicely. So say that's the value area, right? That area is where 70% of the product is priced. The point of control, so the value area is the same as cost basis. And the point of control is where 70% of the cost basis is priced. Pretty simple. Now, it helps us understand the accumulation and distribution of inventory. You don't actually trade off of it. So you don't have to be a market profile expert to make money trading, right? I use market profile to tell me where the goods are priced. So if I know that 70% of the cost basis is priced here, and we get above it, now we're going to distribute, right? So the cost basis is where you acquire your goods, and then you take your goods and sell them for profit. So we actually do our execution off the 1 minute chart, or 5 minute chart, or whatever you're using, right? And you've just been in the room for a little bit. The longer you're in the room, the more you'll be familiar with these terms, right? So value area is a fancy way of saying cost basis, right? So, Chris, say you got a car lot, right? Let's do this drawing again. You got a car lot, and these are your cars, right? And say 70% of your cars are priced in this area here, right? So they're kind of like cheaper cars, and then your more expensive ones are up here. The point of control is where most of your cost basis is priced. So if your cost basis is between 3 and 5, your point of control might be at 4, which is where most of your product is priced at 4. It's just a method of keeping track of inventory. And because it's a market, inventory is the most important thing. Right? So you have an inventory of goods, right? 70% of it is priced in a certain area. The majority of it is priced here. That's the point of control. And then when the order flow comes in, we try and sell it for a profit. If the order flow doesn't come in, we have to discount it and sell it at a bit of a loss, which is the red zone. That is the simplest way to think about it. If you go and look at market profile books and definitions, right? There you go. It's wholesale cost, retail distribution, right? You buy it wholesale, you sell it retail. The difference is profit. If you think about markets like that, it really helps you stay sort of in the groove. So you're not shorting underneath the cost basis unless you see desperate sellers, right? So when it comes down here, but you don't trade off of market profile, right? You use a nice fixed reference like this, look below and fail, you put your stop here. You know there are going to be sellers on the way up, so you put some sell orders out and get out of the trade. Does that help, Chris? The problem with trading education is that it's very overcomplicated. I have spent years literally trying to figure out how to explain things in simple terms. And a lot of older traders and a lot of traditional teachers find me very off-putting, right? Because I'll say, yeah, it's inventory, right? Or, they were talking, I remember years ago they were saying, oh yeah, people shorting Tesla. And I'm like, why would you short Tesla? There's no supply, right? And they looked at me like I was an alien. I'm like, if there's no seller, why the hell are you going to short a market? All the stock's locked up. I was telling people at 300, if it goes to 5, it'll go to 7, and then once it's at 700, it's a hop, skip, and a jump to $1,000 a share. And lo and behold, that's what happened, right? Keep it simple. It's a market, you know? You're welcome. You got to remember, not so long ago, not so long ago, this is how people used to trade. Now, if I gave you a piece of paper and a golf pencil, would you be able to trade? There's no fibs. There's no dibs. There's no EMAs, right? Would you be able to actually make money with a piece of paper and a golf pencil, right? That has not changed. Computerized trading has made the market more efficient. Just like any technology does, it makes a business more efficient. So you can do more transactions per minute, right? But it doesn't change the business, right? The business doesn't change. got a bit of a, excuse me, got an aggressive seller at 72. Now, if you don't know what an aggressive seller is, I've done videos on how to identify it and how to take advantage of aggressive sellers. It's in the JJ video section of Discord. Look, see, there they are again. There's your aggressive seller again. Right? You're going to have some margin call selling, right? Going to open on a gap, in the gap. It's pretty much the same craziness, eh, Elsie? Good to see you. You going anywhere for the long weekend? Let's see if they'll let it up past 68. Nice. Definitely, Raj. We'll have some margin call selling. I'm sure that's what that little move from 73 down to 64 was. The rule for today is just stick to your setup. Don't do anything nuts. Try and enjoy this Friday. Here we go. Cleaned out that seller. We'll be looking for 74 next. Right? Stick to your A plus setups. If you don't see a trade, don't go chasing. Like, don't go chasing waterfalls, right? As the band once said. Oh boy. If we do catch a bid, right? And if we do catch some wind, right? You're looking for sellers at 85. This is inventory starting to correct a little bit. That's okay. That's good. So, if you're buying the 76s, right? Thinking of this as a look, we looked below 76, now we're coming back above it. So if you're long, you're going to have some sellers at 80. Just don't get too greedy. Right? Be long-term greedy, folks. And long-term greedy is to consistently make money, right? See if we get those sellers at 83 again. See? So if you're long 77, you're coming into those 82s, take a little profit. Just be smart about it, right? We hit it pretty much right where we said they were going to be, right? Why? Because if they sold there before and initiated this move down, why wouldn't you sell there again? Now, I'm not talking about retail selling 3 contracts. I'm talking about size traders. Because they reloaded here, they've got to get rid of it. Your 1-minute chart will tell you an amazing amount of information if you have the ability to sit and watch a market for a little bit of time. Like, well, somebody in the chat said it's hard to resist. So when you get in that sort of like the dog chasing the milk bone kind of mode, you don't really pay attention to a lot of things. You'll miss details that are really, really important. And that's what separates people who sit at a slot machine from people who actually do this for work. Yeah, the pattern is based on business, right? Because it's a market. Like, none of this stuff is random. Nobody randomly takes $200 million and says, I'm going to buy these stocks, and randomly they're going to go up. That's not really how business is done. So, you know? That's all. Now if we run out of supply, we'll get above 85. We'll go into this red zone. Think of this big red area as a storage vault that has a bunch of ES contracts. And if we run out of supply, we have to go into that storage room and pay more. Pretty simple, right? Here we go. And they're off. See? Temporary lack of supply. Get into these single prints. Right? Remember, inventory is what? 99% short? So there is going to be some short covering off the open. Right? And, honestly, if you're having trouble controlling yourself, get the hell away from the screen until you learn how to control yourself. Right? It's a little choppy. See how we hit the sellers right to the tick, right? It's real simple. Now, if you're unsure about what's going on, just sit and watch for a little bit, right? Especially if you're a newer trader. After a big liquidation, it's hard, to figure it out. If you can't figure it out, don't worry about it because you're not the only one. See if we can break through 91, hit that 93. Rotate back down because there is supply. Yeah, exactly, Timo, right? You get insight into the next trade. Oh, sorry, I made it too big. If you can relax and if you can actually enjoy the process of watching and learning, your journey in trading will be a lot less frustrating, and it'll be a lot less stressful. Are you going to get stopped out? Yes. Are you going to take bad trades? Yes. But that's just part of the process of learning, right? Okay. Still catching bids from short covering. See if we can take out these 95s. There we go. And there's bound to be some selling at 5,800. It's a nice round number. Maybe a couple of points before it, right? Thanks, Kevin. Nice trade, Sean. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday. Monday's a holiday. We should have some selling at VWAP, right? This is a nice correction to overnight inventory. Gives the longs a nice little bit of a trade from short covering. Now let's see if we sell into it, where we sell into it. Where do I have the gap? Previous day's low is 58.42 and change. We got a ways to go. Have a great long weekend, Sean. 58.08. Hey, Doc. You done work for the day? Yeah, I got 10, so we're in the same neighborhood. Right now, they're front running VWAP a little bit. We do. We did not fill it. I've got the gap fill at 41, 57.41. We're in it now, Jim. We're in it now. No problem. I should have actually drawn that out on this chart. creeping above VWAP now. Big level for me is 58.25 and a quarter. Very curious to see if we could get up there. These are my old balance levels that I'm just erasing now. Okay. A little bit of liquidation as we came up to that 8 that Doc called out. Let's see if we could get under 5,800. If you're short, I'd be using VWAP as your out. Or say the tops of these candles right here. I'd be looking for bids just here. Maybe 57.98. As if we could come down to hit that. Be careful if it offers back above VWAP, just be careful. Here we go. There we go. Let's see. 98.5. Oh, come on. Don't tease us now. I called out. No, there's 97.75. So there's 98 hit. Right? Next target I'd say is down here at 93. Price action's not bad, you know. Nice work, Aubrey. Remember you were looking for that reversal trade. You got it. Let's see, what is this gentleman saying? Do you know Liverpool will celebrate Champions Day on Monday? Yes. That's all they're talking about here. So it's going to be a bit of a zoo here on Monday. Downtown. Finding some bids at 94. There should be a seller at... Oh, they're there. They heard me. I was just going to say, there should be a seller as we get up to 5,800. And then they are. They stepped in right there. Nice trade, Marky C. Well done. Now you're done. Now you can chill, relax. Go have some stuff that I can't eat, like potato salad and stuff like that my girlfriend has forbidden me from eating. Oh. Hey, William De Silva, how you doing? Sellers just above 5,800. So we had a nice correction to overnight inventory, right? Which gave people some nice trades. Let's see if we can get down underneath 57.90 now. That's what I'm curious. Let's see if we can sell this thing down. Because what I'm looking for now, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm looking for the bid. I'm looking for the bid. Once we find that bid, then I can go to work. Seems to be 93. I've had a couple of decent scalps. I'll wait and see if I can find a nice rotation now. That also keeps me from over trading. It's really weird. Sometimes I'll be like really lazy and I'll under trade. And then this price action kind of gets you going. It does it to everybody, right? So to keep from over trading, helps you stick to your setup. Thank you, Zazu. News at 10? Here's that 70, 57, 90 that I was thinking about. So go tag that. There's the tag of that. This is nice, a big backfill, right? So what we did was we took the market up. That creates demand. Now you go back, fill in that demand with supply. That's why you can take that short on the back end of the move. That's always nice. I'm curious to see, how do you look for the bid? It's where they stop selling. Mitchell, sorry. Where the bid is where the short sellers come in and start buying. And the wholesalers will stop selling and lift the offer. Now, if you're a scalper, you can take a quick scalp. If you're waiting, if you're like a longer term trader, you might want to wait a couple of candles to see whether that bid is truly established there. So then come back and test it now. So just like acceptance above a level, traders always ask me, JJ, how long does it have to stay above a level for it to accept? My answer is, how much time do you need to do your business? Like if you're long 57.90 and it goes to 94, is that enough time for you to get in and out of a trade in less than a minute? If it's not, then you might need some more time for the market to accept over a level. But if you're a fast trader and you can clip in and buy 90, sell 94, 95 really fast, that's all the time you need, right? So things like acceptance and those sorts of things, what they do is, now watch, can we stay under 90? So if you're short, you can stay short down to 84.5. It's how long do you need, right? And finding the bid is the same thing. We like to short down, old traders like to short a market down to the bid. When they find the bid, they cover and then they go long. So like if you needed to sell a lot, right, you just tap the market down, tap it, tap, 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 until all of a sudden you find an area where, you know, say you're selling 50 or 100 contracts at a clip, right? You're out 50, out 50, out 50, out 50. And all of a sudden you hit that a level and you sell 50 or 100 and they take it and stay. They don't move. Right? Like say at 88 they took it and stayed. Well, then you know you can start lifting your offer and they'll chase it. But if they take it and drop, right? And you don't have to look at a DOM or anything. You just watch the candles. You'll see, you know, if those candles, if the highs of those candles keep going lower, it means they're dropping their bids and they're chasing the bid down, right, to get rid of their inventory. So I think the short-term inventory is underneath 84. So we took this stuff off the liquidation, sold it up here, and now we're selling it back down. And if we lose the bid, we'll come back down to 76. So that kind of helps you understand where you are in the neighborhood. See this level here? If we could stay underneath that, if you're short now, and it's underneath 90, you could stay short. If it starts creeping up over 90, be careful on your short. And this is a way that you can trade with practical, tactical intelligence. Hey, Jose, are we returning to VWAP? Well, VWAP's up at 58.04, and we're 57.88 now. So we already went there, right? Couldn't get above it. So he sold off. If we can hold 84.5 and rotate up over 96, then the odds are good to get back to VWAP. But right now, because we're opening, 50, 60 points lower, right? We're still in a gap down. There's going to be margin call selling. There'll be stray orders, right? So I'll get clues, right? See, there's a clue right there. Right where that line where I drew says sellers, we hit it and came down. So if we had hit that line and just ripped right through it to this next area, then you know that the sellers have seen buyers and they're raising price. If that doesn't happen, we're still going to have some liquidation. Once again, looking at that 1 minute candle chart, it's just shocking how much information you can pull off a 1 minute candle chart if you know what to look for. And I'm not making this up. Rewatch these videos and then watch it on your own. Go pick a place and draw a line and go, you know what, there were sellers here. Let's see. And if the market's nice and slow when it comes back to that area, it'll stick and then come back down. Oh, let's see. There's that 94 seller. So we just creep above it. There we go. Now we're looking for sellers at around 97. Oh, I don't mind. Any question's a good one. This is the cost basis. This is the profit zone times 2. This is the discount zone times 2. So this is where you buy your stuff. Here's where you sell it for a profit. This is where you mark it down if you have to put it on sale. So now, folks, we're looking for that 5,800. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is just a sales chart, right? Could be a minute-by-minute sales chart of bananas, right? Could be anything. Could be apples. It could be, office chairs. And it's showing you the sales on a minute-by-minute basis. It's just the movement of inventory. It's a market. So, Jose, you were asking about VWAP. We came close, right? Gave it the old college try. But we couldn't get past 5,800. Couldn't get past the goalie. So now we're going to go look for more buyers and see if lowering prices will bring more buyers into the store. Or if lowering prices will force people to sell at a discount. That's basically what markets are. No, it. I don't use standard deviations at all. I just use cost basis. So if you acquire, let's say, 1,000 pieces of something at $3, right? Double it is 6, right? Oh, VWAP's going to move around. I just hide it. See how it came a little lower? Just so I don't have too much stuff on my chart. Right, there's your... Now there we go, you got an aggressive seller, right? Which is natural. Right? Naturally going to have some aggressive selling when we open on a gap down. You're going to have margin calls. You're going to have people who bought stuff yesterday and the day before who are not too happy. I'm curious to see if we can get down under 84, which is where we opened the market this morning. Hmm. Okay. Guess we got to wait for the next move. A little bit of a... There's a little rotation here that we're in right now. 86 to 98, 99. We've found a temporary bid, Jaden. You know, the thing is, if we didn't have this fakakta news that came out earlier, the market be more stable and we might be able to rely on the bid. But in the immortal words of Olympia Dukakis, everything is temporary in this market. Right? Wasn't it just yesterday that I was saying, wouldn't it be nice if we had a nice calm summer, right? With no tweets? The day after I say that, this dude goes and knocks the stuffing out of the market. It's like Mark, listen to that. I was like, it'd be really nice, if we just kind of calmly just go into a summer nice and slow. We get some nice two-sided action, no drama. We can just make money quietly, you know. Next day, he hits the Diet Coke button once again with the Diet Coke button. He hits it. Yeah, got some news coming here. I'm flat. Somebody needs to disconnect that button. I mean, really, Diet Coke's really not that healthy for a guy that age to be drinking that much of. What's that word that he uses always? Tremendous. Yes, it's tremendous. I remember in the 80s, they used to have like this list of power words, that you'd use when you were an executive. Anybody remember that? Anybody who's old enough? Tremendous, superlative. What was the other ones? First class. Remember the 80s, they had the power words? Okay, come on. Now we need some news. We're stuck in a bit of a, we're stuck in a snowdrift here. That news should shake this up a little bit. You have what, snow? I just remember there was, what was that movie? It was with Belushi, Taking Care of Business. He found that guy's Filofax, and he had power words in the Filofax. Yeah, we're a little stuck right now. Nobody knows which way to blink. All right, let's see if everybody bought a house. Oh, hey Leslie, how you doing? Ready for the weekend? Me too. I do not trade the pound. I don't trade any currencies at all. I don't know enough about the currency market to trade it. I'm pretty simple. I only trade the ES. Yeah, overnight POC is below us, Jam. So we're basically distributing that stuff out. Oh, that's cool, Dollarman. I just don't trade what I don't know. The only thing that I participate in is Bitcoin, and I don't trade it. I just when it gets sold off violently, I just buy a little and stick it away and pretend I don't have it. It's the only thing I've been able to hold. I don't even think about it. And it's just like, if the 0 and 1 mafia ever get it together, well, maybe they'll make me rich. Who knows? And once again, Bitcoin, I was really late to the party. I only started buying Bitcoin after they'd figured out the counterparty risk. And I don't know it enough that if it all disappears tomorrow, it'll be okay. It's this really, really micro position. See, I don't know anything about cold storage, warm storage, all that stuff. It's a whole new world. Okay, got a seller at 69, at 96. Let's see. Why VWAP? Sorry, why do I have it on my screen? Not sure I understand the question. Be happy to answer. Okay, seller at 98 and 3/4. Let's see if we can get past it. There we go. And there's VWAP right there. Let's see if we rotate down again. Ooh. Somebody's short under 5,800. They just came into cover. Hello. That was obvious. That was pretty obvious. Big green candle is when a short seller comes in for some size. The order book thins out and just rips. And your target's 58.10 if we can stay over VWAP. It's pretty cool when you can actually understand what's going on. Let's see if we can hold 5,800. Seller at 2.5. They kind of stop right at 5,800. Let's see if we can get that offer to lift. There we go. I'd like to see a look above and fail at 58.10. That would be a nice trade. See how I'm listening. Have a good weekend, eh? Enjoy your days off. Get some sun. I love summer. The only thing is it makes me very lazy. I have to like befriend someone who has a boat. That's the trick. The trick is not to buy a boat. It's to have friends who have boats. See you, Jerry. Have a good weekend. Now this chop, be careful shorting it if we can't get it back down to VWAP, okay? Because the short-term inventory over the last couple of hours is underneath us. So the natural reaction would be to take it and sell it higher. As you go to sell it higher, you're going to encounter some competition. And that's where the short sellers, that's where you're looking to step into a market where you see that competition. Whew. I stay away from trading stuff like this when it's just kind of hanging out. It just keeps me out of trouble. I really like just trading at the edges, or if it looks above and fails, looks below and fails. Or if you see a very clear trade, just keeps me from getting into trouble. Okay, couldn't hold VWAP. Back down under 5,800. Little distribution, but man, the sellers up here are aggressive. These sellers here, we need to clean them out before we can get higher. I don't know. For some reason, right here, I'm really short biased. So I got to say it out loud. Could be the price action is sucking me in. We'll test short at 1 3/4. And I scrubbed it at 58.01. I was short 1 3/4, and I put in a 5,800 bid, but I put it in too slow, and that was just on 1 micro, just to test and see whether that seller's there. And I should have had the order in earlier. There, see there, it worked. Right, and if you're shorting, you want to see those candles. The tops of those candles get lower and lower and lower. You know what? On a Friday before a long weekend at S-Pill, anything can happen, you know? I mean, he could come out now and say something like, psych! Right? I mean, he's literally done that before. You know, you come out and say, hey, listen, I talked to the guy. It's all good. We're going to work it out. You know? Just to mess with people. Oh, sorry. I'm long. I'm long at 7.5, and I'm selling them now. I'm flat. Oh, that's funny. And that was a clear case where I was short biased, but the chart was like tapping me on the shoulder and going, "No, don't do it. Don't do it." And that's why I say my bias out loud. So I'm aware of my bias, and then when it's clearly obvious that my bias is wrong, it helps me trade against my bias instead of blowing up my accounts. There's the look above and fail of 58.10. If you are short off of the tens, you're looking to cover under 6. There are the 6s. And if it breaks the 6s, you're looking for a 5 cover. You should have your bids in just in case. That's brutal, Jose. One thing, I don't know, you're mentioning app. Um, if you're trading on a cell phone, not to sound like an old guy, but in an active market where there's going to be some volatility, I would highly recommend not trying to scalp futures on a cell phone. Um, Especially when the volume's a little higher than usual, because these retail brokerage firms, they don't build stuff out for retail where it's rock solid. I don't even trade off Wi-Fi. Right? If I'm going to trade, I got to be plugged in, and that's just maybe it's paranoia, especially in an active market, and especially if I'm scalping. Right? That's a little bit different if you're position trading or you're swing trading. But I've had it so much in my career where you'll be in trades and the internet will go out and you'll just it's brutal. And back down. Yeah, I haven't been a gamer since what was that video game that we had? Galaga. It's like 1982. It's probably the last time I played a video game. It's been a while. No, you had to go to a place where they had these machines. You know, you've seen them in those 80s movies, right? Now, I didn't have an Atari or a Coleco. My parents were too cheap to buy me that stuff. And they were like, we're going to buy you this so you can sit and watch TV. You're in front of the TV too much. Go study. Right? But we still went into those places, get your quarters, and they were always full of cigarette smoke. We're poking it around in the dark, Howard. We're trying to find the bid. Back to VWAP. Oh, that was a good one too, Jam. All right. Caught some bids at VWAP. I think this is our next sort of rotation. Probably around here. Oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. Anyone going somewhere nice for the long weekend? Work? Well, it's propane season, Jaden. Right? You're like Hank. Right? You got to make sure they get their propane for their barbecues. Oh, camping. Watch out for the bears. Going into the new contract. What are you talking about, Jam? We don't have contract rollover yet. And back down. Back down, back down. When you said new contract, I was like, oh my God, didn't we just do rollover? Okay, folks. So, what'll work for you nicely is to find a nice rotation and trade it. So we've got inventory here. We sold it up here. Then we put it on sale and came back here. So now, how much of a discount do we have to give them? Do we bring it all the way back down in here? Or does this little sale bring in buyers and we can go back up? Oh, Miami. I miss Miami. There we go. That's the short that I wanted, right? This is the short that I was looking for here, but then that happened, but that's what I was waiting for. So I was too early. I was too early. It's okay. Now it's, I don't know, 20 after 3 in the UK. I've been up since 4:35 in the morning. We'll trade the new for. Thanks, Jose. No problem. Hey man, just get me some Cuban coffee. I miss that stuff too. See, there's that rotation that I was talking about, right? They sold it off. Let me just get rid of all these drawings for a second. Clean this thing out. You see, you just take this cheap inventory. Where's the highs? Right there. And then they sold it above, and they brought it right back almost into the middle of that area. See? And there'll be a seller up here at VWAP. So all it is just the movement of inventory, right? And now if they have to put it on sale and they get desperate to sell it, they're going to come and sell it underneath there. Yeah, I could have used some Cuban coffee yesterday, man. For the life of me, I couldn't wake up. It was brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. So, folks, if you are continuing to trade, the zones that I drew on the liquidation, to be fair, are a little too big. You could go in, and I think you could go in and draw better zones if you're going to trade the rest of this day, right? Like, if I was going to, like, kick it into high gear, I would go and redraw my balance zones, make them a little tighter. That'll be helpful for you guys. Let's try and find, like, say, that could be a balance zone. Just sit and watch and see if it works. And what I'm looking for is that two-sided trade, whether they sell into it here. And if they do, does it rotate back down to that level? They are, Raj. Right? We have inventory trapped long over 58.41 from earlier this morning, right? Earlier in the night session, from yesterday and the day before. Right? So what we're doing is we're catching all of that inventory, right? Just above 57.81 to around 5800. Right? So remember, as the great Art Cashin would say, the washing machine. Before I leave you guys, I'll show you what he's talking about. So when you liquidate a market, you can see all of this trapped long inventory here. And that's all sort of falling out. Now, not everybody up here, they don't all sell at the same time. So the trick is to find a nice rotation and just do that and let all of this fall out. And this is like a washing machine. Do that for a couple of days, and at the end of the month, try and do this. Now, if nobody wants to buy this thing going into the new month, we will come and fill this gap, and we'll get down into the cost basis, which is just under that 56.80 level. Right? This is our last cost basis. Right? This is the last acquisition. Right? We took that, we sold it here. So we'll bring it back into this area if we have to. Remember, we were waiting for this, but we had to wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We had to wait 7 trading sessions until we built up enough supply to create that liquidation. Because if you don't build up that supply, right, sometimes the market will go sideways for 2 days and then do this and move up, which is very annoying if you're short. But that's the sort of longer term view. And we'll just be patient and trade the edges. Oh, there's a nice rotation here. Right? That's a nice rotation. So if I was redoing my balance zones, I'd kind of do this, which is the same as this level, right? And what all that is I'm just looking to see where that two-sided trade is occurring. So what I want to see is a high and a low, and when we can't break to that low, we go right back to that high. Right? It's too early to tell right now, Raj, if it is the backside. Like I said, washing machine right now. Right? Don't look for a directional move. Okay? If you are going to trade on a Friday afternoon, and I highly, for you and myself, right, I would highly recommend against it. But if you are going to trade, just trade a rotation. Don't try and pick a directional move. That's where a lot of people get into trouble on a Friday. Right? You got a big liquidation, right? I know in the back of your head you're thinking catcher's mitt, but it's too early still. Right? Let it play out. Right? Let the day play out. Go into the weekend. You know how you want to go into the weekend? You ever watch curling? You're into all the obscure sports, right? If you ever watch curling, when they let go of that curling rock, it just slides down the ice without any drama. Just nice and calm. And that's how you want to go into your weekend, right? Just slide into the weekend. Right? All right, folks. Hey, listen, folks in the coaching class, we'll do a quick half-hour price action lab at 11. We'll see you there. And thank you for everyone joining us on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful long weekend. Have a safe and enjoyable long weekend. And we will see you back here Tuesday morning. Thanks very much. Bye for now.